If you're ready to unlock more better days, to take control of your health, to push past your limits and unleash your full potential, then you're in the right place. I'm your host, Dr. Jeremy Bettle. For over 2 decades, I've worked with elite athletes and high performers, helping them optimize their bodies, strengthen their minds, and recover from setbacks. Now I'm bringing that expertise to you through the Vitality Collective podcast. In each episode, we'll dive deep into the science, strategies, and real-world solutions you can apply right away. Whether it's enhancing your physical performance, avoiding or recovering from injury, sharpening your mental edge, or simply feeling your best every single day. With insights from top experts and thought leaders, this podcast is designed to help you take action, feel better, and live the life that you deserve. Welcome to the Vitality Collective podcast, where every day is vital. Today I'm joined by Stef Corgel, an athlete, fitness model, and strength and conditioning coach. In this conversation, we talk about the hidden struggles female athletes face with body image and performance pressure, covering the difference between dedication and disordered eating, how athletic identity can both heal and harm, and why seeking help early is crucial for your long-term health. If you're somebody who's been struggling with the relationship between performance and appearance, or you're coaching female athletes, this conversation is for you. Let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody. Today, I have a conversation with someone I'm so excited to speak to. Essentially from day one, when Stef walked into the weight room, she was the Energizer Bunny. I've worked with thousands of athletes over the last 20 years, and Stef stands out as probably consistently the highest energy, brought the enthusiasm to her conditioning, to her weight room work, and has continued that in her career. It's been amazing to watch her grow and develop. So, Stef Corgel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Jeremy and Michelle. I just have to start off with saying, for all of the listeners, Dr. Jeremy Bettle is the reason why I'm a strength and conditioning coach. I can say there's been a ton of huge mentors in my life, men and women, but the light switch didn't really turn on for me that, if I were to train and fuel a certain way, then I would progress and get certain results that included rest. That really wasn't introduced to me in a tangible way until I was a freshman at UC Santa Barbara. And oftentimes I think back on my 2 years before I transferred from UCSB and think about the takeaways. And one of the most important things that I took from Santa Barbara for my life was meeting Jeremy. So that is how we are connected. And thank you so much, Jeremy.
That means so much. So much. Thank you for saying that.
Of course. I will also add that there's a way that you were able to coach female athletes that was so uplifting and so empowering, from nutrition to getting stronger in the weight room to being mindful of, societal pressures and emotional pressures, school pressures as a student athlete. That was, I thought it was very before your time. So yeah, more compliments. Really utterly grateful.
That one probably means more to me than the strength and conditioning piece. It's something that I was very conscious of. It's a big responsibility coaching young women. It probably helped that I grew up with 2 sisters. So yes, thank you for that. And I think that's something we'd love to talk about today. We'll certainly get into that a little bit. But I want to talk about mindset a little bit. I mentioned basically day one, you came in and it was just full force, right? In the weight room, everything you've got. Talk to me a little bit about that mindset. Where did it come from? How do you find maintaining it? I'd love to hear more about that.
Mm-hmm. I developed this mindset from being the apple that fell from a very energizing tree. So my mom is quite the spark plug herself. She is a leading periodontist, which is an oral surgeon in her field. Mm-hmm. And I think from the time I was very young, I watched my minority Japanese mother march off to work and be in the room with white men, and just really, announce herself and be someone that was completely studied and intelligent and brilliant, but also with that emotional piece, to really appeal and relate to clients. So that's what was modeled for me, from a strong woman. And I think the mentality of, there's a lot that's empowering with understanding your role in a giant wheel, right? So coming into UCSB, I had worked my butt off for any sort of potential basketball scholarship. It was probably to my detriment, like what we were supposed to do when we graduated high school was get a scholarship, go play your sport, graduate
Right.
with a good job, white picket fence, kids, the full Monty. Um, so I was just laser focused on being a
Right.
part of a team in a D1 program. And when I got to UCSB, I was elated, but also understood my role in the team. And that role was to show up every day, not as the best athlete, with the best effort, and kind of took on a more supportive role. And when I was in the weight room, or when I was at one of our 3 practices throughout the day, I just wanted to be a sponge and learn as much as I could, whether it was from scouting reports or how to be a best supportive teammate to the lead point guard. My leadership could be as being the fittest person on the team and elevating the rest of the team in that way. So I think that's where the energy comes from, and there is I think, a weakness in thinking that everything is all about you, um, and a strength in understanding your position and truly your why in the whole thing.
Yeah. That's an important point, Steph. I want people to pay attention here, because last week we talked about, with Angelo Gingerelli, who's a longtime college strength coach, that journey into college sport. And I think it's such an important piece for people to understand that, when you come into that level, you may have been the best at your school, the best in your region, maybe, but all of that talent starts to matriculate up to the top here. And so when you enter that D1 program, a very clear understanding of who you are within that team, what your role is, and that it isn't all about, at that level, the talent, the skill, the raw athleticism. A lot of people are there because they work their butts off, right? And that outdoes all of the talent, because we had a lot of talent on that team who didn't really pan out, into a career like the one you've got.
Yeah, it's almost like it plays to your long-term benefit to be the underdog or the person that needs to be the hard worker, because you define all the skills that will help you be successful in business or in relationship later on down the line. But yeah, entering into any collegiate program from being the star of your high school team is an ego death. And it's
Yeah.
something that I think student athletes are privileged enough to have early on, and to be put in their place early on, to where, failing later on, in your corporate job or later down the line is less painful because you've practiced your resilience.
So when did you realize that this was going to be helpful? Because it's not right away that, I know from my own career in rugby as an undersized rugby player, when you're going through it and you're working your ass off, and other people are, maybe they're getting to start ahead of you, or you're not making teams. When does that start to become clear to you as you're progressing through your career?
It was heartbreaking, truly heartbreaking. I
Yeah.
remember day in and day out for 2 years showing up early, except for that one time when I forgot to set my alarm, and then you made us run suicides at 5 in the morning.
That doesn't sound like me. That can't have been me. It must have been Matt.
Yeah, the old Jeremy.
Yeah.
But I digress. Early to practice, always showing up for extra work, first in study hall. I put myself in positions to succeed, but I just wasn't mature enough and I just wasn't as good. And that wasn't clear to me until I'd gone through it for many
Hmm.
months
Yeah.
and then fell into my role, but honorably. I think there's a way of,
Yeah.
you know, surrendering for a greater purpose and trying to peel back the layers of what is the lesson that I'm actually trying to learn right now? What is meant to be taught to me? Uh,
Hmm.
and from the UCSB basketball program, I did gain my skills by playing against some of the toughest players in the country.
Hmm.
And I then was able to apply that when I transferred to a Division II school where I played 40 minutes a game,
Hmm.
almost to the point where I'm like, coach, sub me out. Uh,
Yeah.
I then got that experience, but I don't think I would have valued that experience quite as much had I not gone through the trenches of being
Hmm.
heartbroken every time I rode the bench after, playing really well in practice for weeks on end. And it's just,
Yeah.
it's a thing. There's politics involved. And it's just something that I do replay, and it was my own lack of maturity and understanding what college ball would be, choosing a D1 school, weighing, 120 pounds at 5'7", you know, spending most of the game and practice on the floor fighting for the ball.
Yeah.
There's a reality check that needs to be had, but it
Yeah.
doesn't mean all is lost. It just means more power gained here, so you can express it later on, and it can
Yeah.
manifest into something much better and make you more able to give.
Yeah. I don't know that I would have noted a lack of maturity in you, Steph, at the time. I think that there's so much that goes into it. Again, I'll parallel my rugby career.
Mhm.
When you're working hard, you're obviously talented, but if I walk in the room similarly at 5'9.5" and whatever I weighed at the time,
Yeah.
200 pounds, and I can do all this stuff and I'm really good and really talented, and someone else walks in and they're 6'4" and 250 pounds, and they can do just about as much as I can. Rugby's a game of physics, and so that's what elite looks like. Right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
it's not until after your career and you go through it that you can look at it a bit more pragmatically without your own emotional involvement,
Sure.
because I think your own engagement in it and how hard you work, that of course you're bringing emotion to it and you feel like you deserve it and you're working hard for it, and we're always taught you work hard and you get what you want,
Hmm.
and then
Um,
life doesn't work like
yeah,
that.
there isn't. It's not always fair. I'll peel it back a step too. I was so heartbroken about putting in 10 times the effort and not getting the reward.
Yeah.
I then I wouldn't have known this at the time, but it was really taking a mental uh, and emotional toll on me. That's when
Hmm.
I was someone in high school that struggled with an eating disorder.
Yeah.
And when I went to college and then didn't see the reward for all my hard work, I fell back
Hmm.
into negative habits. So
Yeah.
I do wish in retrospect that I'd been more vocal at that time, or I'd
Hmm.
reached out and gotten help. I don't know quite what that help would be like at the time.
Hmm.
I categorize my time as a college athlete as post you're not drinking water because water makes you weak, but pre
Yeah.
be soft and tender with the athletes, emotional health, everyone gets a trophy. I was somewhere in
Yeah.
between.
Yeah.
So I don't know that
Yeah.
resources were readily available, and I don't think we really had the language around how to be as supportive to student athletes as we are now. But
Yeah.
yeah, I, I really went through it, and it's more so looking back on it. all the mental toil that I struggled with, that resulted in poor eating habits, which resulted in poor sleep and therefore
Hmm.
poor performance when all I was doing was trying to get better.
Yeah.
Really, it was, in at war with each other. So
Yeah.
there's, yeah, go ahead.
And I think we didn't at that time, think about the coaching staff, that this was another part of where I don't think maturity necessarily came into it. The communication as you go through that, we didn't have a very communicative coaching staff
Hmm.
who were necessarily going to be receptive to that sort of thing. And so I think that can be a struggle, when you're trying to make a team. Do you want to be the person that raises his hand and says, "Hey, I'm struggling"?
Right.
Right?
Let's
That's a
add to the
difficult thing.
weaknesses or reasons why I shouldn't play.
Yeah, let's give them another thing to mark against me.
Yeah. I will say the bright moment that came out of this, and I elect not to speak on the coaching staff at Santa Barbara. But when I moved forward and then was looking at other colleges, I tried to go Division 1 and was pretty much barred from going anywhere I
Hmm.
wanted to by my current coaches, which I'll let the listeners decide if that's fair or not, if I'm riding the bench every game. But
Right.
I then transferred to a Division 2 school, Cal State Monterey Bay.
Hmm.
And from the moment I was at Monterey, I was able to be very vocal with the coaching staff. Here's what I've been through. Here are my patterns. And you don't need to babysit me, but like let's just keep track of what happens when I'm in a
Right.
very stressful environment. And I then had a very successful junior year, felt my worth all over again, played a
Hmm.
ton. This was a tiny school, and they would just pack the bleachers. It would be so loud in there, and you kind of felt like you were playing a high school game again, but it was the experience that I had always wanted. Um, but then my senior year, I fell into a patch of high stress. I don't even remember
Hmm.
what it was about, but I had the relationship with our coach where I could make eye contact with her, and she knew, even at like a pivotal moment in one of a playoff games, we made eye contact, and she knew I wasn't well, and she pulled me out.
Hmm.
And I think that kind of relationship between coach and player it's invaluable.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the kind of coach you are too. You'll know,
Hmm.
right? You've done the homework on each of your players or each of your clients to know something's a little bit off and
Hmm.
could be affecting performance. There's the mental game is just as important as what's going on physically.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, and that was a positive that resulted from a very poor coaching experience at UC
Yeah.
San Diego.
So is it okay if we dig into the mental health side of things a little bit, Steph?
Absolutely.
Because
Yeah. Lots of
I think there's
healing
going to be a
behind
lot of, yeah, there's a lot of people listening who maybe it's sport or maybe it's other areas who may be similarly struggling. So I think it'd be really valuable to hear from somebody who continues to be such a public figure. As you look back on that, those early struggles in the first 2 years, and falling back into these destructive patterns,
it. Hmm.
what could you tell that younger version of yourself now, or what advice would you give on how she should handle herself with the coaches, or with someone like myself, coming to let your support staff know? How would you deal with that?
I would say just having an opening for a conversation is a great starting point. Having a safe space of non judgment. And I think today it's way easier to come out and address what you're struggling with.
Hmm.
People are more equipped and have better programs to support. But I think being able to have a safe space, and then not in an invasive or overbearing way, but just getting educated on nutrition, proper nutrition for
Yeah.
performance. And there's nutrition for the sedentary person or the average person. And then there's performance for nutrition for athletes. And it's
Yeah.
different. I
Hmm.
really relate everything to what I'm going through now as a endurance runner. I'm running marathons now. I've done ultra marathons. I train like a, I hate the word, hybrid athlete. I'm always on the move.
Yeah.
And just the misinformation about nutrition stemming
Yeah.
from magazines and Instagram and every source throughout the years have really thrown me off, even as a health professional.
Yeah.
So I think to sit down with someone who is a dietitian or a nutritionist, um, just knowing in the field is helpful to filter out all of the bullshit
Yeah.
that is not helpful, the skinny teas and such of the world.
Yeah.
But the way I nourish my body now, I go to bed every night and I'm just shaking my head. I'm so grateful. I know how to work around this bullshit. I was told early on in the modeling industry, like carbs are bad. Don't eat
Yeah.
carbs. You'll put on water weight. Here is how you eat food on the low glycemic index before a photo shoot. Here's how you drop pounds quickly. And that wasn't even taught to me as an athlete who was more so starving herself because it was a stress reaction to wanting something so bad and being stressed about it. Then it turned into, okay, I'm being rewarded as kind of a cute girl on the team and I'm getting more attention for my appearance. So why don't I
Hmm.
keep going with that? And then, in the modeling industry, I became a fitness model and still am today for the listeners. But I ended up moving to Portland, Oregon to fitness model full time. I was very successful in it. And I thought that fitness modeling would emphasize my eating disorder even
Hmm.
further. Anyone would think that. But I think that when I got on set and I was amongst other women who were struggling with similar things, silently struggling with all of it,
Hmm.
I actually was able to contrast against that and
Yeah.
understand that, okay, I don't want this to be my life. So I was then able to get it together. And I've worked with therapists, dietitians, intensive therapy for years and years and years to
Hmm.
really figure out the root of why this was happening. I've experienced the full Rolodex of eating disorders from anorexia athletica to binging and purging.
Hmm.
And this is not just a couple years. It was on and off for many, many years, a decade even.
Yeah.
And it's probably the biggest accomplishment in my life is to just say that I am healthy and I am
Yeah.
on with my life. But I would tell my younger self to come out and say it in the open to someone you trust and then get educated. Because as soon as I started fueling my body in the way it needed to be, eating enough calories, I wasn't binging at night. And I
Right.
wasn't feeling all these impulses to do things that I found shameful and dirty and horrible. And then it was a vicious cycle of doing it all over again.
Yeah.
Uh, if you train hard, whether or not you train hard, but especially if you train hard and are expecting results, then you need to fuel yourself like an athlete. So I think,
Can
yeah,
you?
just being open.
I love that one. And first of all, Seb, so proud of you for working through that and for advocating so openly now for awareness.
Yeah,
Because
thank you. Thanks for being a safe place to share. I would scream it from
yeah,
the rooftops because every time I listen to a podcast where, a Peloton instructor or, Serena Williams caliber of woman is describing their eating disorder, I'm like, damn, me too. wish I would
Hmm.
have known, because maybe I would have been less afraid or felt less shame
Yeah.
to share this. So yeah,
Yeah. Well, you are giving permission to thousands of other women, as we have this conversation. So I'd like to, you mentioned a couple of terms: anorexia athletica.
hmm
Can you help people understand the difference there? Because I don't know that there's the granular awareness of what that might be.
sure. So anorexia is not consuming enough calories to maintain a healthy body weight. Anorexic people will lose weight. You'll see kind of a gauntness in their face. It's a very easy way to have bone injuries,
Hmm.
and slow your metabolism, and all of these eating disorders can be deadly. Anorexia athletica is really what I had, and it's it's hard to notice sometimes because our society confuses it with overtraining, and society,
Hmm.
especially in endurance sports, will glorify those who overtrain for a marathon, ultra marathon,
Yeah.
are taking 5 classes a day and are obsessed with that. They confuse it with hard work and accomplishment,
Yeah.
when really anorexia athletica is overexercise and not enough calorie intake. So while that may look slightly different on a human body, you still feel are visibly noticing, very stick skinniness, low energy, mood swings, and
Hmm.
just general fear around food.
Yeah. And that it's really interesting, isn't it? Because these are behaviors that are rewarded publicly. Like people will have no problem telling you, wow, you look great. Wow, you're working so hard. Wow, I wish I worked out like you do. Great discipline. All these on the surface look like traits that
hmm
are very positive. And I think an extension of that can be like orthorexia, the
hmm
compulsive healthy eating, which essentially is just low energy eating,
Yeah,
right? And as you said, a fear
orthorexia.
of food.
It is the way that most Californians eat. I hate to
Yeah,
say it that way, but there's a
yeah,
ton of fear mongering around, seed oils and this and that, and
yeah,
fats and whatnot. And I just wish marketing wasn't as sexy.
yeah,
It's tough
yeah,
because I'm in that world too. And I'm sent briefs to say certain things about collagen or creatine, and I just can't stomach it a lot of the
yeah,
time. I'll go back to a brand at this point and say, hey, I can't promote anything I'm not taking, and I won't say this if this is not the result that
yeah.
it does for me. So it's tough.
Yeah, we get approached a lot to have guests on the pod, and oh, they want to talk about this like esoteric thing as being like the cure or the supplement to optimize performance.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of what people don't understand is the hard work that needs to be done: training, nutrition, sleep. That's what
Mhm.
performance is,
Gosh,
right? It isn't
there's
necessarily that last
there's
little piece.
no there's no shortcut to success. I
Yeah.
think training under you is a very good indication of that. Even with um, going mid eating disorder, I noticed just so much more strength and understanding of what programming for, I guess we could call it like a mesocycle of training would
Hmm.
mean
Hmm.
in a season. Um, but yeah, there is no shortcut, and I think that is stamped on our society today, where everyone wants this peptide and that gel and this and that. And man, it's exhausting as a trainer.
Yeah.
And I teach group fitness. I teach on a lot of different apps, and to see some of our clients walk in one day and be an energized, you know whole human, and then in 2 weeks half their size, you just kind of sit there and scratch your head. and wonder, why do we have to play such a short-term game? It reminds me
Yeah.
of the modeling industry and
Hmm.
people saying, hey, well, or bodybuilding or anything like that, you're so laser focused on the now to get a certain result in 3 weeks that you're throwing off your metabolism, or you're
Hmm.
losing your menstrual cycle, um,
Hmm.
you know, succumbing to this vicious scheme where you're more commonly going to face um, osteoporosis or
Yeah.
bone health issues later down the
Yeah.
line. So, um,
So let's just talk about that transition from sport, right?
mhm,
You're in a very stressful performance related environment where you've got various triggers around your physique, your appearance, identity as the fit one on the team, right? The most athletic. And then you jump out of that frying pan and right into the fire of, hey, you have to look like this. And we basically don't care what it takes.
yeah.
And then however that end result is achieved, and I've done these bodybuilding comp preps just to try them on myself. It's a very fleeting, very short term thing, but then that's put in the magazine as look how fit, healthy, and athletic a woman should look, or a man should look.
Mm-hmm.
That's a challenging transition, I imagine, when you've been struggling, and then how do you maintain that resilience as you come into this now very physique driven world?
Mm-hmm. I have gotten so much praise over my career as a fitness model for being the girl with abs. And I look back on that all the time, and I hear it less now because I think people are a little bit softer and more aware of consistently commenting on bodies, especially
Hmm.
women's bodies, when I don't have a choice whether I'm in a sports bra and tiny shorts or like a tight shirt on set. I wear what I'm told to wear.
Hmm.
Um, I After graduating from college and playing sports for so many years, do you think there's just a different level of resilience and self-worth that you have from being an athlete?
Hmm.
And I have never seen myself as sexy, maybe cute on occasion, but I've always valued myself as an athlete. If you
Right.
were to call me badass, oh my gosh, that makes my whole life. I want to be tough. I want to be strong, badass,
I can
sophisticated.
confirm you are all of those things, Steph.
Those are the words that really light me up. And
Yeah.
so when when in question of like, is my body being sexualized or do I have to look a certain way on set? I think words just bounced right off of me.
Hmm.
If they weren't positive, I didn't really take to them. For example, my modeling agency of many, many years, one of my agents came to me after a couple years of being very successful modeling for sports brands. She just said, your look is great for sport, but like, do you think you could like soften up a little bit? And I was like, soften up. What exactly does that mean? Do you want me to like gain some weight? And she's like, no, you're no weight gain, but like, your arms are really chiseled. Like, do you think we could play that down because we could get you more roles in
Mm.
national commercials? And instead of being combative, I just ignored it.
Right.
Um, I've had these things since I was born. I was a 2-year old leg pressing the coffee table.
Yeah.
I am genetically very muscular, and it's really like anything that was a reflection on my mom, who is also naturally muscular. Like that's what I want. So
Hmm.
those kind of things didn't bug me, but I really did see it affect a lot of women in the industry.
Yeah.
And we're talking in the green room or before and after shoots, and it was a common topic of like, how does your agent want you to look? And did you hear what the photographer commented today? And of course, Steph, they're going to have you back because you're always in good shape and you're always fit. But like, I can't keep my weight the same way. Those were tough things for me to hear. And it just confirmed that I was not the only one going through body image issues.
I think zoom that out as well. Like, it's a really interesting point that you're touching on here, that the body type issue. Okay, so you are a naturally thin and muscular athletic build. And you might be on a poster in a store, and that's an image. And then that there are other women, as you alluded to, who, well, Steph, I can't keep my weight here. So as people are trying to look like what we hold up as the ideal, it's so hard to maintain a body type that isn't your own. You know, I'm 5'9" and 220 pounds.
Yeah.
Right. I'm like a baby elephant. Right. And so, like, if I try and diet down, it's just going to be so hard. Like, it is so hard to be really thin. So similarly, I sort of embrace what I am. I lift weights, and you know, I'm pretty strong and thick. But if people who are naturally thin try and look like me, or you know, if I try and look smaller and thinner, it's really hard and can have that real negative psychological impact on you when you're unable to achieve what we see as ideal.
Yeah, 100%. And you'd see it so often as women, you know, age into their 30s, and suddenly we're carrying weight in different ways, or, you know, metabolism slows down, mode of training needs to be different, and diet needs to change slightly to maintain a certain type of physique. And at a certain point, you know, a lot of women, it's their full-time job. So I understand the stress, but at a certain point, is it worth being completely miserable and low blood sugar and moody all the time, and once again losing your period? All of those concerns, is it worth it to try to be a carbon copy of this ideal body type that's booking campaigns? I would say no. And that's why I think it's beautiful that that commercially we're changing the image. We're diving more into what they call on set as relatable people, which I think is so stupid. But a lot of castings go out to relatable people or real runners for running shoots, because we don't need fashion models trying these shoes, jumping off of cliffs with poor form, and selling these things. We want the real gritty athlete types, and that's establishing better trust with the customer as it is. But
and people who might actually be showing up at the gym for the first time, right? Not always the person who, this is what you could look like in 5 years' time. Right. And I think I see now in my career after sport, a lot of clients coming to me who are women above 60 who have been in this cycle of eat and train to be thin. Like we've been taught to always be in a calorie deficit. And so the end result of that is very, very low body mass, very low muscle mass, and with that, osteopenia, osteoporosis.
Yeah.
And this is entirely avoidable. And one of the things that we aim for with a longevity program is we're trying to avoid frailty. And if you are low muscle and low bone mass, man, that's a long time in frailty. And your risk of a major event that will cause some sort of catastrophic collapse in your systems, it is huge at that point. So it's really important that we're talking about that.
You're doing the Lord's work. I mean, make longevity sexy again. It really needs to be addressed. The way that I train is so all over the place right now. I'm not training in any way that's like uh, maximum performance for marathon running as I should be, because I like lifting heavy weights so
Hmm.
much. But I would classify the way that I train as I just want to make myself really hard to kill.
Yeah.
Like, make me hard to kill, and
Yeah.
then that covers all bounds. Let's pick up something heavy. Let's make sure that when I'm 80, I'm not twisting an ankle, stepping off of a curb. I can pick up my own groceries. I can load my own luggage. These are the things that need to be valued first and foremost.
Hmm. That's where I think we need to evolve our goals, as you've alluded to, and I think that will naturally come as we go through different life stages,
Mm-hmm.
but from aesthetics to more function.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've always found is, people look at athletes and like, wow, I want to look like that, but then don't train like athletes and don't eat like athletes.
Mm-hmm.
We train athletes for function,
Yep.
right? We train you to do a job. You're a basketball player, you need to be able to jump high, move laterally, run up and down. Like these are functions that we need to teach the body to move in space and deliberately train it to be injury free.
Yes.
That's the mindset shift from injuries in sport are inevitable to we can actually deliberately plan to not have them.
Mm-hmm.
How has that evolving goal set shown up for you in both your modeling work, but then your other life as a fitness instructor and a human in the world, right?
Yeah. Good old human. I
Yeah.
think the conversations I have with clients and friends and other fitness models are just very different these days. They're less centered around looks or
Mm.
beauty things, and way more centered around, hey, do you want to go get in a hit session and go to the sauna afterwards? I think there's more of a balance that my age, I'm 30, almost 35, my age group is trying to attain, where we realize we're really happy connecting with one another in a
Hmm.
genuine way that's not, maybe a beer or two, but like not overly substanced, um,
Yeah.
with time effective. Everyone needs to get some movement and a workout. People are realizing at work their cognitive function is better if they're having a workout in the morning, if they're eating well, fueling well.
Hmm.
And yeah, in my 35-year-old age category, really is the realization of I don't have any energy if I'm not eating carbs. I
Hmm.
don't, I just don't feel well. Or for the women that are family planning, it's really important that
Yeah.
they're dialing down like a very well-rounded plate and eating nourishing foods. So,
Yeah. So
um,
you went through a bit of that, again, quite publicly, you went through some of that planning, and how did all this impact you going through that process? Like,
yeah.
what did you
So,
learn, I guess, going through that process?
oh, I learned so much. I learned how much I don't know about my own body, Jeremy. It was
Right.
embarrassing. Oh man, they were. I was like, I have two ovaries. Oh my gosh, it was so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. Um, Reason why Pat and I decided to do family planning. My own mother had me naturally at 40. She had a
Hmm.
couple of miscarriages before that, but I'm following more in her path. With there's a lot of shit that I want to do. I want to
Yeah.
burn myself running marathons on every continent. There's so much life that I need
Yeah.
to feel and experience, and like the good hurt and the pain and climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, I need to do some things.
Yeah.
So we decided to do egg freezing. And part of that was in relation to what I explained about having an eating disorder. With an eating disorder that started when I was 17 and then cycled on and off for a decade, I had never had a regular period or like
Hmm.
reliable cycle. And so that made me a little bit nervous. I wanted to ensure that if and when we naturally decide to have kids, that there would be a backup, little insurance policy. I also, at that time, probably when I was 30, I started getting regular DEXA scans and just monitoring bone health and bone density, something that I was always really concerned about as well. I will say I struggled with the eating disorder for a while. However, throughout that entire time, I was always lifting heavy weights. And I
Yeah.
think that needs to be said. I was always training heavy, doing high intensity, uh, using all of my rest and recovery modalities to the point where my bone density wasn't badly affected. Um, but to answer your question, yeah, the egg freezing and fertility preservation was eye opening. And that, number one, how do people afford this? It is astronomically expensive, and it is healthcare is not democratic. It's
Right.
pretty wild in this country.
Yeah.
I was able to get on Pat's insurance plan candidly, and his company covered my process, my round of egg freezing.
Great.
I think with female athletes, we have, to put us in a box, just generally high pain tolerance. So the process was not bad for me. Injections, no problem. 10-day stimulation, then a trigger. And after that trigger and finding out that we didn't get as many eggs as we were planning to get, that pretty much broke me. So you're all doped up on hormones, high achievement mindset. I thought I'd get this number. The nurse comes back with 3 less than that number. And then by the time I get home and come out of anesthesia, I check on the portal and we've lost 3 more. So then, it was pretty heartbreaking, but it's something where if you go through the process of fertility preservation, make sure you have a strong support system. Because, you're going to be let down at some point. I think most women struggle with getting the number that they want, and they have to go through multiple cycles. I don't want to use the word selfish, but I'm going to anyways. I selfishly didn't want to go into another round as I was advised because I wanted to get back to marathon training, and I was going crazy without movement.
Yeah.
Which, is another mental thing I needed to address at the time. I think anytime that I am asked to take a long extended break and to stop moving, I get really concerned. And even in my recovery and years past an eating disorder, I start to feel those thoughts whenever I'm injured, whenever I'm not moving. It's a very helpless feeling. So,
Because it's removed. And it's removed a big area that you can control, right? I think when you get thrown into these environments, if we go all the way back, you're working hard and you're not getting selected. You're going through the modeling cycles. You're going through the fertility treatments. There's so much you can't control through that. And now if you remove the thing that you can do,
right,
we start that's a positive for your mental health and your physical health. We start looking for those other avenues, right? What else can I control here?
Yeah.
So
I've
it's
been
a challenging,
properly therapized my entire life here. Movement has been so medicinal and so imperative for my mental health that my biggest challenge going forward and on repeat is going to be being okay with myself and self-soothing and looking for other helpful avenues when I can't move.
Yeah.
And so that's why I would say longevity is paramount for me. I want to be able to move well and live well, have my family not worry about my health for as long as I possibly can on this earth. And if I'm being honest, if I'm not running a marathon when I'm 100, then I'm ready to go. But
that's as we built Vitality Collective, that's our mission. We want to keep people doing the activities they love for as long as they want to do them. And the key there is avoiding injury.
Sure.
I know you've just been rehabbing an injury, and I'm interested in the timeline here because my analytical brain started kicking in immediately. So you went through this period of detraining during the fertility process. How long was that period that you were down for?
So that was about a month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, had I not done that right before I'd gotten injured for the next 5 months, if I would have handled my injury as well. But I will commend myself for being, I guess, for handling the injury as best I could. I
Yeah.
finally felt like I beat some demons this time, and I
Yeah.
grew up a little bit. I understood that exercise is not always the answer. It's sometimes you need to just sleep to get
Yep.
off your feet to act.
Always you need to sleep.
Yeah, right.
And
I'm
because
curious
what's
how.
interesting
Go ahead.
here, and there's a lesson in this. So you were 6 weeks out. You're chomping at the bit to get back to training. How soon after that were you injured?
Yeah, you're putting the pieces together, huh?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
my
So they say
my
that
expertise is the injury
right.
prevention piece, and I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah. The tendon health of females, especially after undergoing an egg retrieval, be a little bit more fragile. I hate to
Uh-huh.
ever call myself fragile, but
Well,
yep,
no, but
I could have waited another month.
it's also it's not just the hormonal fluctuation. It's actually the down period from exercising,
Mm.
right? So when we take that time off, we decondition,
Hmm.
right? And that's all of the tissues, all of the systems. And we joked about this before we started about the fitness industry ego injuries,
Yeah.
right? I know I can lift this amount. I know I can run this far. I
Hmm.
haven't done it for 6 weeks. I'm going to go and jump right back in.
Yep. And I believe I jumped right back in. Yeah. I think I went out and ran a 5K time trial a week and a half after my egg retrieval. There's something that says because I'm an athlete, I understand my body more than the normal person, and it's a load of shit.
Yeah,
Um,
people say that about like me having a PhD in human performance, like I should understand mine.
yeah, yeah, right.
I was just limping off a treadmill yesterday when Michelle and I did some sprints, and she's like, "Do you think you
Man,
should have stopped?" I'm like, "No."
yeah. So I'm curious, how do you handle periods of injury,
Oh,
or
so
how?
badly.
Yeah. So what does that look like for you?
So I really struggle with not being able to be at my standards in the gym,
Okay.
right? So weight lifted,
Sure.
reps done, total work done. Um,
And those standards and those numbers were set at what point? Because like at the peak of your life fitness, like is it harder to hold yourself to that standard?
so like UCSB when we were doing box jumps onto 52-inch boxes and
Yeah.
like we're max squatting and all these things and it's like, yeah, no, I can still do that.
Hmm.
And then especially when you're injured and something's hurting and you're like, no, I can still do the pull-ups. Or no, I can still do the sprints on the treadmill.
Hmm.
Because there is psychologically knowing all the stuff, but there's still that psychological piece of, well, no, I can't miss it.
Right. Or
Right.
the
So
can I squeeze one more hard session in and then I'll rest?
yes.
And
Yeah.
then when you're injured, oh well, I'll just go out for a jog to test my injury. Like, let me just
Yeah.
test this thing. What sense does that make?
Yeah. Knowing what a jog is, which is basically 10,000 single leg plyometrics on a
Right.
sore Achilles. Yeah.
Repetition.
Yeah. So, and I think it's such an important piece. You know, we're sitting here as experts in the industry talking about how we struggle with it.
Mhm.
It's so important to recognize it early and to take the steps to rehab, because if you just keep yourself in an injury cycle, you keep deconditioning. and it's going to get worse and worse. And you end up spiraling into lower and lower performance levels. But ultimately, what that looks like from a longevity standpoint, reduced strength, reduced bone mass, reduced VO2 max, the key markers of these are measures that correlate the most highly with longevity. But it's not the measures, it's the doing, the activities that is actually what keeps you alive.
Yeah.
So if we stay injured, we can't do our activities and we're done for.
Yep. You get deconditioned, and therefore it feels like a quick onset of depression is what it feels like.
No question.
Yeah. I think the universe meant us to have this conversation because you're getting through to me right now. I think
Likewise.
I've reached the point of mature strength coach and mature professional. I have not yet reached mature athlete, and mature athlete knows when to rest and knows the limits that are going to be harmful.
I think that this is something, though, that high performers in general struggle with. So I think that there's broader implications here just in the mindsets that people like us have, very high achieving people in society in general, people who haven't been athletes or are not, people who achieve a lot in industry, that if they show up more, if they work harder, that's what's rewarded, right? That's how they get better. But it's not how the body works.
Right.
Right. We only adapt when we rest. We don't adapt as we're doing the work. We adapt when we rest, and the body can restore itself. So that is the mature piece is, okay, where am I deliberately resting?
Right. The work.
And for the high performer too, because like the brain is still part of the body. We forget this. Like these cognitive athletes, whether they're on Wall Street or anywhere else, the brain still needs rest.
Yes.
So if we're going to go to another level, how do we're not talking about being soft here and backing off. We're talking about how do we get more out of our body by strategically resting.
Right. That's so eloquently put. And I think that is the number one question I always have to ask myself when I'm training. Like, if I am meant to be pushing super hard on this interval workout, and I show signs of weakness, or I get this, innate response where I need to pull back. Is that the body? Is that the mind being soft, or is that the body giving me clues? It's not easy to tell sometimes when you're, 18 miles into a training run.
That is right. That is right.
This experience, should be able to trust our bodies.
Yeah, I think so, and I think also understand that the individual workout probably isn't all that important in the long run.
Right.
Right.
It's
we don't want to
together of many workouts over time.
Exactly. Yes, it's the cumulative load that we put on our body. So I think even if we get that one wrong, right? Maybe I was just being soft, but it's still a signal.
Right.
Right. Because mostly you won't have that going through your mind. And so if you do, then I think it's always something we pay attention to.
Yeah.
That there are workouts that we put in, once a week to test that. There's a professor in South Africa, Tim Noakes. He calls it basically the governor, the central governor. So if you don't push to your limit regularly, you'll lose your capacity to go there.
Yeah.
So I do think that there's merit to going, and it's really interesting. We get on an assault bike and do a 200-calorie ride as fast as you can. Every time at 100 calories, you start negotiating with yourself.
Yeah.
Now that I know is me negotiating with myself because I'm deliberately doing that. And it's every time. So for like this time, I'm not going to do it. But that was pretty good. That was a good workout.
That sounds brutal. It's I would equate that to the dreaded slide board sprinters you made us do in college. Sometimes for 60-second intervals, and by 45 seconds, you're questioning the meaning of life every time.
Yeah. Does basketball really mean that much to me? I don't know.
Yeah.
The Prowler challenges were always the fun ones.
Oh my gosh. they all served us well. I had to push a prowler with the CEO of a company I worked for sitting on top of it the other day, and I was like, I've trained my whole life for this.
Exactly, for this moment.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that was great.
Excellent.
Des,
That's so good.
are you training for anything, or do you have any fitness goals right now?
That's a really interesting question because
As a
it's
person who
tough.
dedicates his life to pouring into others.
Yeah, interesting question. I have been basically training for the sake of training for like 20 years now, right? I don't play a sport. Um, so I've been training basically for longevity and to be strong, but I recently decided, 20 years after my rugby career, that I was going to start running again.
Okay.
And we've already talked about, my frame being, elephantesque. It's so hard. I hate every minute of it. It's so hard,
Yeah.
but it's an interesting thing to examine because to go from lifting a lot and that sort of being my identity into more of an endurance athlete mindset, it's actually been quite hard to shift my focus and to think about, okay, how do I better prepare my body for the demands of this goal? So we right at the start we talked about goal setting. That's what the difference for me between training and working out. I've been doing a lot of working out and with specific goals around injury prevention and longevity, but shifting into running has been a very interesting thing for me because it's so different. So different.
Sure. I can't wait to be on this journey with you. And man,
Well, you
shifting.
made me admit it publicly now, so now I have to do
Yeah.
it.
Now he's accountable.
Yeah,
Even as someone who runs frequently, the phases of cross training are way more enjoyable than that shift to
yeah,
getting back into dedicated running. Running is, I would say, like running, swimming, any like long distance cardio sport. It's just a different breed of animal. I can't
yeah,
imagine being a college runner and still doing it to this day. They just know a very different kind
yeah,
of hurt and different kind of pain where I think back to the basketball days. If I wanted to rest during a game or a practice, there are ways to move off to the
yeah. You
side.
could hide, right?
Yeah, strategically, yeah, it's a ball sport. You can
Yeah,
strategize as to when you rest or pull me out, coach, for 2 seconds, put me back in. When you're running a 5K around a track, everyone can see when your motor's starting to die, and it is only up to you. And
yep,
your body is completely dependent upon you. You can't blame a damn other soul.
yeah.
So it's a
And even in
sport.
those intermittent sports, it's like, no, I can keep going for another 30 seconds because that's all I'm going to have to do.
Yeah.
There's going to be a whistle, right? Or for me, if I'm just training, right, and I'm doing sprint intervals, you
Mhm.
can get through an interval. But running for distance just sucks for so long. Like, just the ability to just be out of breath for that long is so hard.
Oh, it's so nuts. It's so nuts. But to start to see progress in your running speed or just
Yeah,
overall how you're feeling after a run is really gratifying, just in the way
yeah,
it's, adding 5 pounds to your dumbbells. So it's addicting, and
yeah. It
there's
is.
a progressive overload in that as well. I'm gearing
Yeah.
up to run New York next week.
Oh, no
Yeah,
way.
yeah. So I'll be out on the East Coast as well. And
Amazing.
I ran New York in 2022. Didn't
Hmm.
know much about distance running. Thought I'd take a couple gels on the course and that would suffice. And to your point about just the shift in mentality from one modality to the next,
Hmm.
I fuel differently. I am carb fueled now. Before I was more like fat fueled. Uh,
Hmm.
I have different shoes. I have a different warm up. Just I expect to feel pain at different points throughout the course. Yeah, different game plan altogether. So mean, that's what makes it fun and keeps it fresh after training all these years. Just throwing yourself
Yeah.
into something new and unknown and letting it
Yeah.
suck so bad for a while.
That's, I think, the key point to it is going from being really good at something to going and being not good at something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the longer we go in life, we build expertise and we become really good at things.
Yeah.
And it's harder psychologically to go back and challenge yourself and really be a white belt in something. And that's certainly where I am with running again, is like, I'm really bad at it. I'm really bad at
I've
it.
seen you sprint, so
I can sprint. Yeah, I can.
go back to talking about body types. If there was anyone I'd line up next to and expect to get demolished by in the 100-meter dash, it'd be you.
Probably more like 30 right now. I don't know if I can go 100. I'm very dangerous over short distances, Stef.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can get you and Michelle to sign up for a turkey trot or something. You can start there.
Absolutely, we will. Absolutely, that's what we're going to do, and
Love it.
we will post it.
Yeah,
we'll sign up for something and we will post it so you can keep us accountable. Michelle's glaring at me right now. She's looking at me absolutely aghast. Like, what did you just commit me to?
We're going to get Jeremy on Strava. Strava is both the best and worst invention of all time because it breeds community and keeps you so accountable, and it also is that social media dopamine hit that everyone needs to overtrain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, look, Stef, this is so good, and we could keep chatting for hours, but I've already kept you over time.
I had the best time talking to you, so this has been amazing. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I've absolutely loved it. We ask for 3 takeaways every time. We've covered a lot of ground here, so this might be a challenging. I'm going to target this to the women who are listening. What would you want the 3 takeaways for a woman listening to this episode to be?
Yeah. I would want any woman listening to know that if they're stuck in a cyclical pattern of low self-worth or feel this performance-based love and insecurity about themselves, there is a way to beat it. And it starts with seeking help. Just confiding in someone that you trust. There is always a brighter day and many, many brighter days after that. I'm so proud of who I've become, even during that process. But the healing process is not linear. It affects people around you. And I think to have to make it vocal and known and to have people supporting and cheering you through it is imperative to having good health on the other side and maintaining good health. Something else I would want women to know, just have your filters on when you're scrolling on social media. None of it's true. You'll find, I hate to put it that way, but none of it's true.
Yeah.
Especially if there's a platform that's pushing a certain supplement or two, please do your additional research or ask a PhD. And then I would really leave young athletes and women in sport, please do know that staying in sport and understanding your worth as a teammate, as a leader, and as a overall strong woman is going to help you and propel you in whatever you do. It's setting you up to have a very strong foundation to be confident and to change the world.
Beautiful. Those are so good. So good. I want to, if I might add a bonus one. You talked about having had DEXA scans. So DEXA scans from the age of 30?
Yep.
A DEXA scan, if you don't know, is a measure of your bone mineral density. Insurance start paying for these at about 65 years old. at that point, you've had about 25 years of bone loss. So it is so important for women in their 30s going into their 40s. You have to be setting a baseline for what is my peak bone density. Build it as high as you can. Start monitoring it early. In your 30s, probably about every 2 years is enough. But you need to know that you're maintaining it in those years, not find out when you're 65 that you've got osteoporosis, because it's been developing for 20 years. Yeah. So that would be my additional takeaway from today.
Huge component of it. My mother, as a periodontist, leads studies in osteoporosis, and you can find the degeneration starting in the mouth. So that has been something that's been pressed upon me for all these years. But knowledge is power, and it remains to be powerful. I know a lot of people, especially men, are afraid to go to the doctor and get their routine checkup. Brushing it aside is not going to help you live longer, and it's not going to do a service to the people who love you around you. So go get this information.
I would add to that, not only does brushing it aside not help you live long, it doesn't change whether you have the thing or not. Mm-hmm. Right? Do you want to find out early when you can do something about it, or do you want to find out late? Because you're finding out. Yeah. But you're going to find out. So find out while you've still got a chance.
They're afraid to find out because they're afraid and scared and lazy to have to do something about it.
Yeah.
But all good things are on the other side of fear and resistance and hard. So might as well do it.
Exactly. Go do it. Stef, where can people find you and follow your journey?
Yeah. You can find me on various fitness apps and portals. Viore Active Studio is where I teach classes. You can find me at Barry's Bootcamp here in Los Angeles. And you can find me on the Center app. I have a program launching in January that will be high intensity and some different routines you can do with heavy weights in the weight room. And otherwise on Instagram at Stef Corgel, and follow me for fun marathon failures.
They don't look like marathon failures compared to mine. So
we'll see what happens next week. Jeremy, it's been so fun to chat with you. You are a huge idol of mine, and I look forward to staying connected with you and Michelle for the rest of my life.
Well, us too. That is so mutual, and we have so much admiration for everything that you've done and achieved, and we're so proud of who you've grown to be, and we feel very honored to be a part of your life.
Thanks, Jez.
That was such a powerful conversation with Stefanie Corgel. I'm so grateful for her candid and open responses. Here are the 3 key takeaways from today's episode. Number 1, if you're stuck in a cycle of low self-worth, or if you're struggling with disordered eating patterns, start by confiding in somebody that you trust. The healing process is not linear, and it impacts everybody around you. So building a support system of people who can cheer you through it is essential for getting to the other side and staying healthy. Number 2, stay skeptical of what you see on social media, especially content pushing specific supplements or body transformations. Remember that none of it tells the complete story. So take your time, do your own research, and work with qualified professionals rather than following what looks impressive online. Number 3, if you're a woman in sport, know that your worth as a teammate, a leader, and a strong woman extends far beyond the field or the court. The foundation of resilience and confidence that you're building right now will propel you forward and help you make real impact in whatever comes next. If this episode resonated with you, the best way to support the show is to follow us wherever you listen to your podcasts and leave a rating or a review, or maybe even share the episode with somebody that you think would benefit from hearing this message. It makes a real difference in helping us reach more people who could benefit from conversations like this. You can stay connected with us on Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube at Vitality Collective Performance, where we share additional insights, behind-the-scenes content, and updates on upcoming episodes. If you'd just like to learn more about what we do at Vitality Collective, you can visit www.vitality-collective.com. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time.